I call the March 24th meeting of the Municipal Airport Authority to order. First, I want to welcome you here and all those who are listening or viewing. It's an unprecedented time, but we have to keep going, and we will keep going, and we will get through this. The first thing on our agenda is to approve the airport vouchers totaling $27,974.64.
Motion.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Voice vote.
Lind.
Aye.
Engen.
Aye.
Haugen.
Aye.
Clark. Okay, Lynn.
Aye. Number 2, approve the individual vouchers as follows. Stroh, $365, Stroh, $14,720.70, and Mead and Hunt, $108,680. Are there any corrections or any questions about those?
No, motion to approve all is listed.
Okay.
And second.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded. Roll call vote.
Lind.
Aye.
Engen.
Aye.
Haugen.
Aye.
Clark. Virginia. Okay, Lynn.
Aye.
Yes, hello.
Okay,
Oh.
good morning.
Good.
We-
Gotcha.
Okay.
Good morning.
Good morning. Right now we're going
Good morning.
to. Good morning, Virginia. Let's see, John and Stacy and Jeff are on the phone as well, and we have Rick, Eric, Mike, Sean, Joan, and I here with some more individuals. So, and we're all about 6 feet apart. We're on number 3 on the agenda. Discuss airport operations and flight schedules. And first I want to thank Sean and Joan and all of the airport employees and all of our contractors, our vendors, for doing such a great job in this time. I know it's a difficult time, but thank you so much for all that you guys have done and continue to do for us so we can keep our flyers safe. And Sean.
All right, well, as you can see, the parking lot is pretty barren out there today. I would say that our load factors right now are probably 20% is a good day as far as load factors. The airline schedule is ever changing. I haven't chatted with Darren yet this morning and trying to keep on top of it along with Mark Sixel, our air service consultant. So far through this morning, what we know is Allegiant has canceled 12 flights through March 30th. That involves a lot of Las Vegas and Orlando, as one can expect, as Vegas is pretty well shut down. The Strip and Orlando, because of the Disney closure, it is primary reason. There's a few Phoenix flights now that they've combined because they're operating 2 Phoenix flights a day through March. They're trying to reduce those down to at least 1 operation a day, but that is changing every day. As far as United, they're still operating a full schedule with some exceptions, but we expect in April, what they have posted online is they'll reduce Denver service down to 2 times per day, Chicago service down to 2 times per day. Delta, checking their website, still shows 7 flights a day in April. However, in my conversations with network planning, they're looking at 4 or 5 flights a day starting sometime in April through May and maybe be extended beyond there. American, reducing the size of aircraft down to smaller 145s if they can, the 50-seaters versus the 175s that they've been operating. Probably looking like 1 Dallas flight, 1 Chicago flight, possibly 2 Chicago flights, but they're taking it day by day. Frontier, absolutely no word, no communication, no return calls, no emails, nothing from Frontier. Have no idea what they're going to do. They do have their posted schedule change up in April where they transition from Phoenix back to Denver in April, but there's no indication from Frontier on exactly what they have planned. So these are changing every day, and when we get information from the station managers or our contacts at Network Planning, we'll let you know, let the restaurant, the TSA, and everyone else know here what's going. But what I'm reading now, and probably what you saw last night, is under discussion. And this just came out from AAA this morning, is major U.S. airlines are drafting plans for a potential voluntary shutdown of virtually all passenger flights across the United States, according to industry and federal officials, as government agencies also consider ordering such a move, and the nation's air traffic control system continues to be ravaged by the coronavirus contagion. That's from the Wall Street Journal this morning. The one exception to that obviously will be cargo. UPS and FedEx are extremely busy. In fact, UPS is back to almost peak volumes back around Christmas, because as people are isolated at home, shelter in place, they're ordering a significant amount of money online, or items online. Some of that discretionary income for some probably will start to falter here over the next couple of months, but they're extremely busy right now, and of course they're the lifeline for a lot of the hospitals and testing labs across the country and across the world for that matter. So I don't see any decrease in cargo operations that are there. As far as here in the terminal itself, last week, as one could expect because of the reduced traffic, the TSA has one security line open. They shut down one of the X-ray machines at the checkpoint last week. The gift shop is also adjusting their schedules to match what passenger traffic is. The pre-security operation is about 9 to 5 right now. Those hours could be adjusted as time goes on and schedules change. Post-security, the kiosk in the Gate 3 area, they're open for departing flights as that schedule changes. The cafe is adhering to the governor's order. They're doing grab and go and takeout right now. The subway is still open down there along with grab and go sandwiches for the employees and a few passengers that we do have. In the bar and lounges, of course, closed on both sides, pre and post security. As far as the stimulus package, right now you're probably hearing the coronavirus relief package that's under discussions now in Washington. The House has a version now that came out yesterday that's different than the Senate version. There is a talk today through last night that there could be a vote today by the Senate, the third attempt at a vote. That plan right now includes anywhere from $58 to $61 billion in grants and loans for airlines and their employees. Which version will be adopted if the Senate does pass it and they go to conference with the House, we'll see. There is also in both proposals $10 billion for airports to help deal with the crisis. And the House plan distributes that aid somewhat differently than the Senate version. What those specifics are, we don't know at this point. But as you can imagine, airports that have significant amounts of debt service here in the state and across the country are hurting significantly right now with that. And thank God we don't have a parking garage out there that we're paying debt service and the maintenance reserve on right now. Because a lot of airports are. So the devil's in the details in terms of what that $10 billion will do for airports when it comes. If that's going to be a relief package for us or if it's going to be prioritized to airports that have significant debt service, we don't know those details. I've been in contact over the weekend with Tyler Hardy at Hoven's office, Micah Chambers and Colby Coons at Kramer's office, just trying to get more information on exactly what's in this relief package. And they've done a great job keeping us up to date. They understand what the airport needs are. Let's see, from that standpoint there, as you can expect, financially, we don't have any debt service, so we're in pretty good shape as compared to a lot of other airports around the country. But with that comes a lot of pain and suffering from our concessionaires. You know, the car rental agencies are taking a hit, restaurant, gift shop, and you can imagine the FBOs, everybody's going to take a hit on this. The two primary ones, obviously, and first and foremost, are the parking lots. Had 2 calls yesterday with Jack Racuto from SP Plus, who's asking all of their airports in the country to give them an abatement on minimum annual guarantees. Right now, we have a $2.7 million annual revenue guarantee with SP Plus, and that's about $225,000 per month. They're asking for an abatement of that revenue guarantee and then just go to a straight percentage of revenue. And obviously, as you can see this morning, there's not going to be a lot of revenue from parking. That abatement would go into effect on April 1st per your approval of that suggestion, recommendation, and would stay in place until traffic significantly increases. It's probably a month to month. Every 30 days we will review what's happening and try to come some consensus on when that revenue guarantee could go back in place. But at this point it appears that's going to be sometime into the future. The second item that we'll need your concurrence on is, as we spoke with Bill Buchholz from American Airlines yesterday, and I've reached out to the other airline properties folks that we have, is they're looking for obviously relief from airports, either in abatements or deferrals. Initially they'd asked for like a 6-month abatement of all fees that they pay, landing fees, terminal rents, any other percentage of gross revenue agreements that we would have with them, but they're asking for a total abatement of up to 6 months. And then, well, I said, well, we really can't do that, so we're going to keep our employees employed here. They looked for 3 months, and then I had suggested that maybe we do a 3-month deferral and see where we're at in the next 90 days. So starting April 1st, April, May, and June, all of the funds that the airlines would owe us would be deferred for that 3-month period. And per your concurrence today, that's what we would offer all of the airlines the option to defer what they're paying us for those 3 months. That's a starting point. And as you can see today with what came out in the Wall Street Journal and what's being discussed, it could go longer than that. We're going to go on the deferral method for right now because a lot of airports out there see this $58 billion to $61 billion that's in the relief package. Exactly what is that for? Well, my sources within the congressional delegation is it is to allow the airlines to pay their obligations. So if we defer it until that package gets out there and they decide exactly what they're going to do, we could start to invoice them in July for those 3 months. And we'll make it clear to the carriers, if you concur today, that January, February, March, they'll have to pay in full for that. We just got the February invoices out now, Joan.
Mm-hmm.
So March, we don't have those invoices out yet, obviously because we're still in that month. But I think they'll be able to pay us for the first 3 months, but probably not for the next 3. So those are the 2 key points there. Jumping forward, and Jeff can comment, I believe some of this $10 billion that they're putting out to airports will look for projects that are shovel ready to go. And as you're aware, the cargo apron project is still moving forward. We will go forward and move bids. UPS confirmed yesterday in conversations with Shane Seeley and Greg Erickson, they're still moving full speed ahead on their plans for construction here in Fargo because they don't see their business really slowing down much, at least here in the near term. Snow removal equipment building will open bids on April 7th for that. One change in the specification is we waived the mandatory site visit that was scheduled for this week. Contractors had some concerns about obviously massing in Pool to come out and take a look at the site. So what TL Stroh is offering to them through an amendment, or an addendum I should say, to the specs, is that contractors can call TL Stroh for appointments to tour the site if they so desire this week. The car rental ready lot, we're moving forward to the point where we can get bids on that. We'll trust John Scraper and the team at Mead & Hunt to find out, we can bid it early, but when's the best time to do that work? We planned, I think, to do it in July because we'll probably have a better quality product because the temperatures will be warm and so forth versus trying to fight rain and other things in June. It'd be nice to move it up, but we'll trust the engineers in terms of when they feel the weather will be right to get the best quality project and the car rental ready lot with that. So
there's
go ahead.
There's really there's 2. We need a motion for 2 different items.
Correct.
The abatement of the minimum revenue requirement for SP Plus until further notice, till we see it's time to go back.
Correct.
With the guarantee.
Correct.
Okay, so that'll be a percentage.
Yes.
Okay. Would anybody like to put that motion on the floor and then we can discuss it?
Madam Chairman, I have a couple of questions.
Okay.
With respect to deferment or abating guarantees.
Okay.
There should be something within those agreements that does not negate our claim should one of these entities go into bankruptcy.
Okay.
And I'm sure that's very prickly right now, but that should be a party to any agreement.
Right.
Okay.
Well, Sean, is that something that can be done?
Yes, yeah, and we'll be working on language. There'll be, with SP Plus and with Stacy's help, we'll put together some language for that abatement. I believe the current agreement that we have does protect us in that end where, if we're a creditor, we would be lined up to at least be considered to get our obligation paid through if it comes to that. One other note, and we did check, is that SP Plus, the business interruption service or insurance that they have doesn't cover items such as viruses or acts of war. And a lot of those things, business interruption insurance changed a lot for even us, our liability insurance for acts of war as well after 9/11. So they did check with their Senior Vice President of Risk, and unfortunately their policy does not cover items such as viruses and acts of war. So they did check that, which I think is pretty common for most that do. If I didn't mention, I took 2019 and I sent out an Excel spreadsheet yesterday. So if we take SP Plus, in 2019, they paid us an average of $268,138.81 per month. That was the average in 2019. So as you look at an abatement, you take the $225,000 off the top, we'll just be back to a percentage of that. So we'll be at a fraction of what their average revenue per month was. The airlines collectively, we took landing fees, jetway rental, terminal rent, aircraft rescue and firefighting. The the LEO or security reimbursement for the Fargo officer that's mandated at the checkpoint, along with utility reimbursements. The airline's revenue stream is about $129,300 per month based on 2019, and it's going to be very similar in 2020. The revenue streams don't change much from year to year on that. So, so if you want to handle SP Plus first, and Stacy and I will work with council at SP Plus to put some language in place. We'll probably get that abatement in place so it's effective April 1st.
Madam Chairman?
Yes.
Is there a concurrency with a number of other airports throughout the country working with SP Plus, so it's done at the same time, and that one airport does not give up more than the other? It's concurrent or even across the board? Has that been talked about?
Each airport's agreements are a little different. You know, you take like in Baltimore, Washington, they have a revenue guarantee of $5 million per month, and they were at 9% accuracy, so they may do some things differently. I spoke with 4 airport directors yesterday, and 3 of them had already suggested to their boards abatements and deferrals before the airlines and parking even asked for it, because they knew it was coming. So some were a little more proactive on that than probably what we were, but I knew that it was coming from that standpoint. I would say the majority of folks that I spoke with yesterday, some were immediate to the larger airports on the East Coast as far as their abatements or deferrals, but the majority of folks I talked to yesterday would be an April 1st start. So I think we're pretty consistent in that.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
I would move to allow Sean and Stacy to act on our behalf to craft an agreement with SP Plus.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second that.
And the agreement is for, okay, thank you. Do you have the wording on the abatement?
The abatement is to abate the minimum annual
Okay.
guarantee and go to a strict percentage,
Okay.
which is allowed, I think in section, Stacy, I think it's section 8.7 of the lease agreement is the abatement of the minimum annual guarantee.
To just the percentage?
Yeah, it's covered in the lease agreement, section 8.7, and then review every 30 days a change to back to a minimum annual guarantee or other adjustments as necessary.
Okay, so it's been moved and seconded that Sean and Stacy work on an agreement for a 3-month abatement starting April 1st with SP Plus to go from a guarantee to a percentage. And there's been a second. Is this a roll call?
Sure.
Roll call. Any other discussion?
So would we be looking at a abatement for a monthly basis approval versus 3 months or 6 months, or are we gonna look?
You can put a time frame on there. I would say at least 3 months and then
months.
review. So we do April, May, and June, and then have a review towards the end of June to see where we're
Yeah.
at. They may also qualify for some of the stimulus package that's
Right.
out there as well. We'll know a lot more by the next meeting and more even after that, because
Well, this is our largest contributor to operating
Correct.
dollars.
Mm-hmm.
So, I just worry that between everybody we've mentioned with the car rental agencies and all of our vendors, we're gonna lose a lot of income here.
Correct.
And we still have to keep the airport open,
Mhm.
UPS and FedEx wise,
Right.
plus military and
Mhm.
the like. So, thank goodness for reserves.
Yes, exactly. Thank goodness.
So what I had
for
sent
approval.
out yesterday, just FYI, so with SP Plus, all of the airline revenue sources that I mentioned, along with the car rental agencies, the gift shop, and then the food and beverage operation, in 2019, those collectively paid us $527,636 a month. So that's our revenue stream for those, and obviously they're going to be down significantly. Now, car rental agencies, they have a minimum annual guarantee of, we're at $65,000 now, Joan. They will far exceed that, so I don't have a concern there, but we'll make adjustments accordingly to that, but I think they're all going to be able to exceed the $65,000. They're still doing some business down here right now. Gift shop is a straight percentage. There's no minimum annual guarantee, along with Skydyne, the food and beverage operator. They don't have a minimum annual guarantee. They just pay us a straight percentage.
Okay.
So,
Any other questions? Roll call vote?
Lind,
Aye.
Engen,
Aye.
Haugen,
Aye.
Clark,
Aye.
Lind.
Aye. And the second motion is to defer all the airline payments up to 3 months, starting in April for the airlines. If
Correct.
give that as an option, is that correct?
Yes, we're gonna give them the option if they want to. I'm sure they'll all take it.
Okay.
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion?
What's gonna happen
Chairman
now?
Lynn, this is Bernie Darter's call.
Oh,
If
yeah.
the federal government comes through with some of these programs, are
Is
you
it
still gonna defer all of the revenues?
That was my question as well.
the deferment?
What's
comes-
the
Yeah,
deferment
I mean,
on?
it's gonna be reviewed, Mayor Dardis, as we get more information from Washington through the FAA and others in terms of exactly how the airlines can use the funds that they're gonna get. So it will be reviewed in terms of, if we find out that there's requirements that the airlines have to use it to pay their rents or what have you. I mean, we'll make adjustments as we get more information on that. So, but what the federal government is passing right now, we don't have enough information to know exactly what they're gonna use it for.
Thank you.
Good question. Any other questions, discussions? Yes.
Yeah, I'm worried about the passenger facility charge is dropping way off also because of passenger boardings. And just wondering how that's gonna impact our payback for some of our construction.
It'll slow it down. Yeah, it will slow it down. The snow removal equipment building isn't in a PFC right now, the local share, that will be at some point. The cargo apron project that will get out here soon, the local share of that isn't in the PFC. So everything that we're collecting on now and the PFC number 9 application that, let's see, we had the airline consult meeting here a little over a month ago. We're in the comment period now for the airlines. We do have comments from United Airlines on the PFC application. Once the airline comment period is done, then the FAA will put it in the Federal Register and we'll get approval on that sometime in April. But our revenue stream has slowed down. We collected just under $2 million in 2019. We'll probably be down in the $500,000-600,000 range for this year. We'll have a dramatic cut in PFC revenue. That's correct.
So is the all the SRA building on AIP grant?
It is being bid as an AIP project, and if we have any funds left over from the cargo apron, they will be applied towards the snow removal equipment building, and then our entitlements for the next year would be applied towards the snow removal equipment building as well. Yep. So we have revenue streams in place for that, and
Good.
reserves.
Good questions. Any other discussion? Questions?
One more question.
Okay.
A question to Sean. Are any of these entities that you're talking about, Sean, are they in arrears presently on monies owed to the airport?
Well, they're in arrears, but within the normal time frame that they normally pay. Frontier and Delta are a little slow on paying terminal rents and so forth, but they haven't paid January yet. But they're coming. They're in the normal cycles of when they've paid. So we don't have anybody that's 90 days out or anything like that. So they're all within their normal pay time periods.
My point being is that do you have to have a start date from when you're going to defer? Because if those revenues were late coming or whatever their standard pay procedure is, that you're not going to be giving up stuff prior to when the coronavirus had a dramatic effect on your boarding. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, what the deferral option for the carriers will start April 1st. So everything prior to April 1st they will owe in
There you
full.
go. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
It'll be April
Thank
1st
you.
for 3
Thank
months.
you, Sean. Thank you, Chairman.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Roll call vote, please.
Lind?
Aye.
Engen?
Aye.
Haugen?
Aye.
Clark?
Aye.
Lind?
Aye. Any further business?
I've got one question.
Yes.
Our firefighters are all being paid for directly by the airlines. Does UPS, FedEx
Yes.
will keep on paying, but the revenue stream strictly for the firefighters will go way down as well. So we're gonna have to absorb those salaries.
For a while, that's
For a
correct.
while.
Yep. Yep. So FedEx and UPS, as the commercial carriers cut their flights, the land and weight for, obviously, American, United, Delta, Frontier, and Allegiant will go down, but UPS and FedEx will pick up a bigger share of aircraft rescue and firefighting. There's no doubt about that. It's just one of the trade-offs, I guess, that we'll have. Yep. Yep.
Good. Any other questions, comments?
Madam Chairman, one question.
Yes.
Is the membership full for the PEC committee?
It is not, and I talked with Don this weekend, and we were conferring about getting in. He was going to get in contact with Jane, and they're going to be discussing, a couple different options. So, but it should be. It's more just sitting on my desk right now because I talked with him this weekend, and Don is. He and his wife came back from a time, and they're not leaving their home for a couple weeks. So, we'll have another report by the next meeting. Thanks for asking. Yes.
I've got one other thing. It seems like right now with the interest rates at such a low level that, and maybe Jeff, if you're on, you can answer this, but I'm just wondering if to prevent any interruptions in all the construction we've got, if there should be we should look at borrowing any money right now for construction or.
I don't think so, because the cargo apron, we have all the grant money that's readily available, so snow removal equipment building is a possibility, but until we get bids open,
We don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's a good thought, though.
I was thinking though that the cargo ramp was about $2 million more than we were anticipating. We
Yeah.
still have enough.
We're hoping to get some additional funds out of the $10 billion that we got in the stimulus package back in 2018.
Yeah.
Some of that money's been turned back, so there's a pool of money out there that the FAA is trying to get us some additional funds for to cover that, along with the snow removal equipment building. But no one's really in the office right now. They're home answering emails, but getting information hasn't been real timely in that aspect. But let's see.
I just
Sounds
worry that
good.
everybody's needs are going to exceed our desire for additional funding on that. The needs of the nation are going to go significantly higher, so
Correct.
our priorities might be significantly
I'm
lower.
just thinking that, even to put out an RFP now and secure something at these interest rates, I mean, we may not see them again for a long time.
Yeah.
To give us the opportunity to do it.
I want to thank you all again for coming. If there's no further discussion or questions, thanks to all of you who are working so hard.
One other thing, Stacy, are you still on?
I am.
Can you explain where we're at with the special assessment deferral that's been going on for over a year and a half with the city?
Yes, so the special assessment project BM16C, the city of Fargo did agree to the deferral, I believe, November of 2018, and I've been working with Nancy Morris to get the agreement completed. And I did provide all of the legal descriptions with the property that's involved, and we just still aren't able to get that done. And so the airport continues to receive assessment notices and late fees. So I'm keeping on to work with her to get those agreements signed.
Can we give her a deadline? I mean, it's going to keep on. It's been a year and a half. And, can we just say by, May 1st or May 15th? So there is a
I can
specific
sure do
deadline.
so.
If it was, if it was a private sector, we just wouldn't allow this. You've got a deadline, you get it done, and you have to, come to some terms with it. And I would think now is a good time because there's a lot of things that maybe we do not have to work on it, maybe the city doesn't, that maybe we can work together a little more vigorously and get that accomplished.
I agree. And from my perspective, everything's in line. It's just a matter of, I mean, I provided all those descriptions. Those came from the county, from the assessment notice. So, you know, I send an email every week, and I'll follow up with her again today. The last email I had from her on Thursday or Friday was she thought she would have it completed this week.
Oh, good. Okay. Well, if there
Madam
is,
Chair?
yes,
Madam Chair, this is John Strand.
Yeah.
I would say to Stacy or to you or whomever, if you need to bring me into the email loop so I can help monitor that being addressed as quickly as possible.
that would be great. I was thinking that too. Can you do that, Stacy?
Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you.
I would appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here, Mayor and Commissioner Strand, and I think we will call the meeting, we'll adjourn the meeting right now. Meeting adjourned.